all went to that island at some point, which is fucking insane. All right, let's go ahead and jump straight into this, man. I want to see what this is all about.
Significant protection by the Sinaloa cartel and others that has been difficult.
And that's why it's so important that you get his picture out there. He could change his hair color. He could change his appearance. You know, he's got some powerful people protecting him. But this is $1 billion a year of drugs that he is
$1 billion?
charged with being responsible for. $1 billion.
Damn.
Go ahead now, off topic.
On the Epstein files, does the new investigation by the Southern District of New York U.S. Attorney prevent the department from releasing all of the remaining files?
So we have released over 33,000 Epstein documents to the Hill,
Okay.
and we'll continue to follow the law and to have maximum transparency. Also, we will always encourage all victims to come forward.
What are the next steps, Madam Attorney General?
But how do we not know before they release the files that they didn't redact like people's names, like rewrote them, like maybe took Biden's name out, Trump's name out, whoever's name. I'm just using examples. But how do we even know they didn't, fuck with them before they release them?
For the DOJ regarding what we assume President Trump will sign into law with the Epstein files. Is this going to be on the Justice Department website? What are you doing here over the next 30 days as we understand it?
We will continue to follow the law with maximum transparency while protecting victims.
When you say follow the law, Madam Attorney General, do you mean that you will provide all the files by 30 days?
We will follow the law. The law passed both chambers last evening. It has not yet.
Okay, since when has Congress followed the law? Or anybody in Washington, D.C. for that matter? They don't follow the law. I don't give a shit if you're Democrat or Republican. They don't follow the law. They're all corrupt to some degree.
Been signed, but we will continue to follow the law, again, while protecting victims, but also providing maximum transparency.
Madam Attorney General, the DOJ statement earlier this year saying that the files would not release mentioned the fact that the review of the documents and the evidence did not suggest that any additional investigation of third parties was warranted. What changed since then that you launched this investigation?
Information that has come for information.
Yeah, information.
There's information new information, additional information, and again, we will continue to follow the law, to investigate any leads. If there are any victims, we encourage all victims to come forward.
But see, there's got to be something that happened though, because okay, for those of you that remember Trump, when he was going through his campaign, he said, like immediately as soon as I get elected, I'm going to release the Epstein files. Like immediately. Here we are almost a year in, and we're just now maybe going to get some documents out. Like they've had plenty of time to just fucking, redact names. I'm not even saying Trump's on it. They could be redacted other people's names that don't want to get out, Democrat or Republican or both. I mean, I don't know.
And we will continue to provide.
But how much you want to bet when these come out, we're going to get no names? We're going to have like a bunch of victims' names, but we probably won't have any names of people that actually visited the island.
Maximum transparency under the law.
Wedding, Madam General. On Ryan Wedding, you mentioned.
Madam Attorney
Sure,
General,
Kelly.
the issue with the new information that you just indicated, is the department seeking information perhaps from the Epstein estate because Mr. Blanche did not have that information when he interviewed Ghislaine Maxwell? What new information, and would you limit the new investigation to just those named persons that the president talked about, or is this a broad, open-ended investigation?
I would refer to the Deputy Attorney General's post that he put out on X, and we're not going to say anything else on that because now it is a pending investigation in the Southern District of New York. But you're on point.
Okay.
Hard stop. One more question? Sure.
President Trump has previously said that he may consider authorizing military strikes within Mexico to go after cartels. Given the importance of this case, I'm wondering if the DOD...
You know who Trump's got to worry about now, or actually, I'm kind of worried about him getting. So they tried to kill him because they didn't want him in office, but you know who I'm worried about killing him now is actually the cartels because he's blowing up their boats. He's got to deal with China where now they're not getting the fentanyl or not getting the ingredients to make the fentanyl. I mean, yeah, man, I guarantee you the cartels would try to get a hold of him if they could, man, because he's fucking up their business now.
On the search for Ryan.
Yeah, we're not going to discuss anything with the Department of War right now, but right now I will tell you it is the Treasury Department, the State Department, our office, the FBI, working with Canadian authorities and working with the Mexican authorities hand in hand. And that includes the Mexican military. You had one more on wedding?
Yes, please.
Sure.
CBC, you mentioned a Canadian lawyer, if you can tell.
Could you imagine the uproar though if we start dropping bombs in Mexico? Dude, they would have that shit plastered on every TV station. They'd have that shit plastered everywhere. People would be flipping
Tell
out.
us more about it, the extradition of a Canadian lawyer, and also a question for Commissioner Michael Duhem on 7 other individuals who are linked to Ryan Wedding. If we can tell us on the extradition, what are the next steps?
Sure. Do you want to take the Canadian? I think Bill will take the attorney because that attorney is being prosecuted in California, and then I'll turn it over to Director Duhay.
Attorneys being prosecuted.
Yeah, the attorney, he's named in the indictment that was unsealed today. His name is Deepak Pardkar, Paradkar.
The fuck kind of name is that, yo? Deepak Car? What?
He is a lawyer. I'll have the Canadian police commissioner provide more details. He was one of the people arrested yesterday. I understand he initially refused to come out of his home. He put up a little bit of resistance, but he was eventually taken into custody.
Hey, a hermit lawyer. I didn't know they made hermit lawyers.
It was very important for us to get him because when you have people who are officers of the court, who are lawyers, we take oaths to protect the public and defend the law. And when you have lawyers who are assisting international drug trafficking players on how to evade law enforcement and to murder witnesses, we can't have that stance. So it was very important to us that the lawyer be charged and the lawyer be brought to justice. I'll have the commissioner.
Okay, let's be honest, guys. I don't like lawyers, judges, and honestly, I'm not a big fan of cops. I know we got to have cops because without cops, you have anarchy. But I think in order, especially for a lawyer and a judge, to be a lawyer and a judge, you got to be a liar. Like, you have to be a liar. That's why I couldn't be a lawyer. You know, I couldn't defend a dude that murdered like 10 people. I know this guy's murdered 10 people, but I'm going to go up there and lie for him and try to get him off the hook. Like, by definition, to be a lawyer or a judge, I think you got to be a liar to some degree.
Speak about the extradition process. There are about, I believe, 7 individuals that were arrested in Canada. We are still looking for one more individual in Canada, and they will all be extradited here to the U.S., where they will be brought to the Central District of California, and they will be charged and tried here in our court system. So I'll let the commissioner speak more about the arrests and the extradition process.
Okay.
So thank you. I think he's covered quite a bit there with regards to the next steps and the ideas. Yesterday, we engaged in an operation following information that we received and arrest 7 out of 8 Canadians. All of them are currently locked up.
We're arresting Canadians now? Oh, shit. Canada's going to be flipping out next.
Waiting the extradition process, so they'll have a fair process in front of a judge, and then our Department of Justice will communicate with the justice here, and then we'll go through the steps of the extradition. But the premise is everybody will charge in the United States. So, and you had something about 7. Is it something else?
You know more about those 7 Canadians.
Well, the 7 Canadians were arrested in the province of Quebec, some in Ontario, some in Alberta. We still have eyes on another person. But they are being charged conspiracy to commit murder, trafficking, as I listed earlier, conspiracy.
I thought Canadians were good people, y'all. I thought they were good people. Why would they do some bullshit like that?
Drug trafficking and murder as well.
And the timeline of the extradition.
Well, that's for the courts, and I don't control that, unfortunately, because it happened tomorrow if it's just to me.
Any chance you can say that in French very quickly?
Très rapidement, oui, 7 individus ont été arrêtés, 7 sur 8 ont été arrêtés au Canada. Dans la province de Québec, dans la province d'Ontario, ainsi qu'en Alberta, nous sommes à la recherche d'une dernière personne. Les gens sont arrêtés, les 7 sont arrêtés, sont en prison présentement et attendent le processus
no idea what the
d'extradition
fuck he's
pour
saying,
les ramener
dude.
ici à faire face à la justice américaine. Merci.
Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you. Do you want to take a? Yeah, go
What
ahead.
was the question? The Attorney General has previously said that she would refuse to release any information that would re-victimize the victims, and I'm just wondering whether that stands, after the passage of this law.
Well, the law isn't signed into law yet, and of course we're going to protect victims, and the law as written allows us to do that. The law has carve-outs to protect victims and to protect information surrounding victims, which is what we do not only in this case, but
But what are the victims going to get out of this, anyways? I mean, Epstein's already dead, right? You got Ghislaine Maxwell, she's still alive, but the main guy was Epstein, he's dead. So, I mean, they could come forward and probably put other people in prison, but I mean, the main guy that fucked them over is dead. I mean, I don't think you get any more justice than that, I would think. Unless I don't know. I'm a little torn on that.
in every case. So it's a fair question, but neither the House nor the Senate's version, the same version, suggested otherwise. So.
Thank you all.
All right, so this was an announcement about this person Ryan James' wedding. Maybe we can talk about that in a little bit. But what we got to catch is the Q&A, and there were some questions and answers about Epstein files.
Mm-hmm.
And so
we
there's
want
this
names.
concern that several of the questions talk about the Attorney General and Deputy Attorney General just addressed, responded to, which is that so President Trump is supposed to sign this bill today, which Congress has now passed, which will actually, hold on a second. Yes, President Trump is supposed to sign this bill, which will make this Epstein Files Transparency Act a law, and that orders that basically that the Epstein files be released. But will the President Trump had requested that there be new investigations. Several days ago, he requested this, that there be new investigations of Democrats and their prominent Democrats and their involvement with Jeffrey Epstein, which the Department of Justice, the Attorney General's office now says they're doing. So could...
That's crazy. Hey, look, if he wants to go after him, he can, Look, I don't care if you're Democrat or Republican, man. They fucked with him his first term. They tried to kill him this second go around, and I think that's why they didn't want him in to begin with, because they knew this second time if he got in, he was coming for everybody. He ain't got nothing to lose. You already tried to kill him. He can't run again. So I think that's why they were trying their best to keep him from getting in that second go round. But yeah, let him. I mean, they've been coming after him for like the last 8 years, man. I mean, what would anybody in that situation would do the same thing? I mean, it's time for payback.
Might the Department of Justice say, well, we can't release a bunch of these files because we're still doing this investigation, this new investigation? So that was a couple of the questions at least asked about that. I want to talk about that more. Also, President Trump is going to be speaking in about 15, 20 minutes. We're going to cover that.
Okay.
Hakeem Jeffries, the minority leader, is about to speak now.
Fuck that dude. Like, fuck that guy. That guy's a piece of shit. That dude is just... I don't even know.
I think he may address the Epstein files, so we're watching that. So before we get into all that, we're going to be doing live coverage, seeing if President Trump signs this anytime soon, either before or after he speaks. We'll cover him speaking. We'll stay updated on all this. But real quick first, We are sponsored today by our previous sponsor,
No,
Gold Safe
we-
Exchange, which I really appreciate.
We don't care about your sponsor.
So let's hear a quick word about our sponsor. Then we'll come back and we'll get into everything, and we'll take your comments and questions on the air, and we'll get you all the latest updates. All right, hang on 1 second here. All right, here we go. You know, a number of people these days are investing in gold, silver, and other precious.
Guess what? We're going to skip through your ads.
Maybe he'll talk about
How
the
about
Epstein
that?
files, Bill. So we're going to check this out. President Trump actually, oh, I have to get that on the screen as well. President Trump is supposed to be speaking in a few minutes. Also, I think Elon Musk is going to be there. This
What?
is in the Saudi.
Wait a minute. Wait, did him and Elon kiss and make up finally? I don't even know why Elon was mad at him to begin with, honestly.
U.S.-Saudi Business Forum. So hang on a moment here. I have to get both of these things on the screen for you. So let's do this. Let's do this. Hang on, it's a little confusing, everything that's going on. All right, so first of all, we're going to put this here. That is the, well, that's not, whoa. That's not too exciting to look at there.
Hey, this dude don't know what the fuck
So
he's
that
doing.
is that's the U.S.-Saudi Business Forum, and then I'll get both things on the screen. So President Trump's going to be speaking there, and I guess Elon Musk.
What has Elon got to say?
And then we have here.
I didn't know they made up.
Hakeem Jeffries is supposed to speak, and no word on a signing time yet for this bill, for this Epstein files bill. Let me fix this. Okay, so there's in the corner, there's the Hakeem Jeffries.
Okay.
So we're waiting. The curtain is where President Trump is supposed to speak. Oh my gosh. Okay. So again, any time today, President Trump is supposed to sign the Epstein files bill and make it a law, but we don't know when that's going to be. So we're doing live coverage, and we're going to be taking your comments and questions on the air. And also, I want to thank our moderators who are here: Beth Mythical, Ruth Krafasi, Janet B.
You know, I'm actually surprised that Elon. I don't know, because I don't even know what they were feuding about. Like, only thing I remember is Elon showed up on a stage with a chainsaw, and then, like, right after that, Trump and Elon were, I don't know, they were having some kind of issue. But I guess they've kissed and made up.
They are over there on YouTube. Thank you so much. Linda Belk, Larry, Misha on X. Thank you for moderating over there. We have on Twitch, Big Ball of Yarn, DeBears, Idaho Star, I Got That Fire, Matthew, Kohai 3, and Sarah. Thank you so much. And our Facebook moderators, thank you. One moment, please. One moment, please.
One moment, please.
Oh, by the way, Trump's motorcade is on the way to this event you see with the curtain. Trump is currently driving to the event in his motorcade, or riding to the event, where he is going to speak, which we're going to cover live.
Wouldn't that be kind of crazy if we all seen a picture of the presidential motorcade and like Trump's in the driver's seat just driving the motorcade? That'd be fucking hilarious.
And thanks to our Facebook moderators like Margaret Riley, Kay Lowry Body, thank you. And all of our other moderators who are there, thank you so much. Stefan Runge, oh, okay, so what I need to do now, let me just put this big, and the other thing I'll keep an eye on. We're waiting for Trump to speak, and also we're waiting for Hakeem Jeffries to speak.
We don't want to hear from him.
One of our viewers had a good idea for a poll.
Oh, somebody coming in.
We should. Oh, hold on. Hakeem Jeffries is about to speak right now. So let's watch him speak and see if he talks about the Epstein files.
Morning, everyone. Next week, throughout America, families will be gathered together at the dining room table, and millions of Americans are going to experience sticker shock as they prepare for Thanksgiving.
Man, there's sticker shock every Thanksgiving and every holidays. I mean, we already know the price of everything is going up and nobody's getting paid more. This is nothing new.
The Trump administration itself acknowledges that the cost of turkeys has gone up 40% since last November.
Can we take a moment of silence on the day of Thanksgiving, all the turkeys that are going to be slaughtered, like mass murder of turkeys? Can we just have a moment of silence for that?
Grocery costs are through the roof, housing costs out of control, electricity bills through the roof. And the Trump administration and Republicans here in Congress continue to refuse to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits. That means that tens of millions of Americans are about to experience dramatically increased premiums, copays, and deductibles. In some cases, health insurance costs are going to go up $1,000 or $2,000 per month. We have a
some of you that are watching right now are probably lucky to have health insurance. Maybe you can afford it, but most Americans, they can't afford health insurance unless they get it through an employer. Like if you're self-employed, like a lot of self-employed people I know, they don't have health insurance. They're not, and the Affordable Care Act, like I checked into that, there wasn't nothing affordable about it, man. Shit's expensive. And the healthcare system has always been broken. Like, I don't think they're ever going to fix it.
cost of living crisis in the United States of America, and Donald Trump and Republicans haven't done a damn thing about it. In fact,
Okay, to be fair, the Democrats haven't done a damn thing about it. They were in there for 4 years and they didn't do shit.
costs aren't going down, costs are going up all throughout America. And the Trump tariffs are costing everyday Americans thousands of dollars in additional expense per year. Now, House Republicans were on vacation for 7+ weeks, a taxpayer funded.
They were not on vacation for 7+ weeks. Okay, I think any of us with a brain with common sense can realize that this whole shutdown was because of the Democrats. It don't take anybody, you don't have to be a college graduate to figure that one out. All the Republicans were voting to keep the government open. The Democrats, they only needed like 6 or 7, and they couldn't get them. So they were basically holding the country hostage.
Vacation until they were forced to crawl back into town. We have a week of legislative session that began on Monday and will last until Friday. And House Republicans haven't brought a single bill to the floor that actually addresses the high cost of living in the United States of America. It's perplexing. What is wrong with these people? What did they not get from their shellacking 2 weeks ago all across America, up and down the ballot, in state after state after state, where the American people have made clear we don't support Republican extremism. Republicans have done nothing to make our life better. And we're thankful for Democrats.
Okay, well, let's use that logic. I mean, let's say the Republicans haven't done anything to make our life better. The Democrats the last 4 years didn't do anything to make our life better either. So basically, ain't nobody doing their fucking job. Nobody's making our lives better.
For continuing to lean in to driving down the high cost of living. And now we're in the midst of this healthcare affordability fight. And Donald Trump's response to it is, let's repeal the Affordable Care Act.
Well, the Affordable Care Act is not affordable. I mean, if anybody even tried to look into it, that shit it's still ridiculous. There ain't nothing affordable about it.
No credible plan to make healthcare more affordable for the American people. Donald Trump's plan, adopted by House Republicans, is let's repeal the Affordable Care Act, and we're going to continue to refuse to extend tax credits that make health care more affordable for working class Americans, middle class Americans, and everyday Americans.
Okay, he's kind of lying there. What he's saying is middle. It's not for the middle class. It's mainly for all the illegal immigrants. They're the ones getting the health care. They don't give a shit about the Americans. Make no mistake, the government does not care about you, your family, your welfare, your children. They don't give a shit. The only thing they care about is the health care for the illegals.
House Democrats are going to continue to stand on the side of the American people. Our fight will be to continue to lower the high cost of living,
Right.
to
Sure.
address the Republican health care crisis, fix our broken health care system, extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits, and actually do things that are designed to make life more affordable for the American people.
They had 4 years to do it. Why didn't they do it?
Questions? Manu?
During the very high-profile Michael Cohen hearing, Stacey Plaskett was in direct communication with Jeffrey Epstein, and this was after he pleaded guilty to sex crimes. This is after the Miami Herald investigation into all these heinous acts. So why, as a Democratic leader, why are you okay with that?
I expressed my position on the floor yesterday. My statement speaks for itself. In a bipartisan way, the resolution that was introduced targeting Stacey Plaskett was defeated. And it was defeated for several reasons, including the fact that it was a dramatic overreach related to throwing her off her committees. Democrats, if you're going to ask a question, you got to let me answer. Democrats and Republicans defeated the censure. Stacey Plaskett has made clear her position as it relates to Jeffrey Epstein repeatedly, and her words speak for itself.
She said, quick, I'm next.
Thanks.
Next.
Okay, well, I'm an idiot because I don't know what's her position for those of you watching, if you know, because I missed that one.
Thank you, Leader. Now, following up on that, should Plaskett be sent to ethics, and should there be an ethics investigation?
There was a vote on that yesterday. My vote speaks for itself. Republicans decided not to go down that road. Thanks.
Have you met with MBS yet? And if so, what was discussed? And if not yet, will you be?
I was part of the bipartisan meeting hosted by the Speaker this morning. I asked the Crown Prince about his views relative to a just and lasting peace between Israel and the Palestinian people, and his views as it relates to.
Look, they might get temporary peace over there, but that area of the region has always been at war. They've been at war over there since going back to the Bible times. I don't know what it is about that region. Israel, Iran, Afghanistan, Iraq. Yeah, you might get temporary peace, but you're not going to get lasting peace. That place has always been at war, and they'll always be at war.
To the importance of a two-state solution. The Crown Prince reiterated his view that a one-state solution in Israel is impractical, and that the best path forward, of course, involving the reconstruction of Gaza, is to eventually find a robust path toward a safe and secure Israel, living side by side in peace and prosperity with a Palestinian state. I support that position. I think we'll continue to stand by the special
You'll have
relationship
peace
between our
temporarily,
two
but not
countries.
long
It's
term.
incredibly important. But as we move forward to find a path toward a just and lasting peace, ultimately, it has to involve a safe and secure Israel, living side by side in peace and prosperity with a Palestinian state, where the Palestinian people can realize their aspirations for dignity and self-determination.
Yep.
The Crown Prince reiterated what he has said publicly his commitment toward finding that path forward. It wasn't mentioned in the conversations that I was a part of throughout the meeting. Okay.
Leader Schumer told reporters yesterday that he consented to adding the Senate phone records provision that the House will vote on tonight to repeal. He said that he wants to
Man, I can't hear these people asking the questions.
protect him from Bondi and others who might go after them later on. Were you previously aware of Schumer's consent, and what's your reaction to it given your opposition to the provision?
No, and I haven't had the conversation with Leader Schumer. What I can tell you is that during the Rules Committee that House Republicans had last week, they expressed their outrage. Republicans expressed their outrage at this Republican senatorial slush fund that was put into the spending agreement that they all voted for, notwithstanding the outrage that eight Republican senators have basically built into law a slush fund that will give those senators millions of taxpayer dollars.
It's okay, so what? What about like Nancy Pelosi? I mean, Democrats do the same thing. Nancy Pelosi went in with like a worth of like 150, 200,000, and now she's got what, over 100 million? Like, how does that work? Yeah, I mean, they're all stealing money. It's not one side or the other. There's people on both sides stealing money.
That's special treatment for United States senators in the Republican Party. Part of the bill that they all voted for last week. Now, later on today, we're going to be voting on legislation to remove that Senate slush fund that benefits 8 Republican senators. But apparently there's no agreement between...
But where was the agreement to get rid of all that insider trading bullshit? Like Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi. That's where they got most of their money from, was from stocks. Insider trading bullshit. I mean, if one, I know this is probably a bad way to look at it, but if one side can do it, the other side can do it, as far as I'm concerned.
Speaker Johnson and Leader Thune that the Senate Republicans will take up that provision, which reinforces the point that everything that House Republicans do is for show. It's not serious. It's not designed to get an...
That's not just Republicans. That's Republicans and Democrats. It's always just a show. They're always all talk and no action on either side.
Result. And that's why Republicans are suffering all across the country. Why the American people, the overwhelming majority of the American people, know that the country is moving in the wrong direction. That the economy is broken. That the Republican...
Yeah, but you can't really blame Trump for that, because the economy was already broken when he came in. I mean, I would argue it might be a little bit better. I know the government shutdown didn't help. That's for damn sure.
Control of the House, the Senate, and the presidency has been a disaster for the American people, because everything House Republicans do is for show. They can't even get a commitment from Senate Republicans to take up legislation to remove this multi-million-dollar taxpayer-funded slush fund.
What about the slush fund where they were freaking doing the What about the slush fund where, do you guys remember a while back? I think it was the Democrats. I don't really remember. But remember they had a slush fund where they were paying off all these women that were coming forward, and they were using like taxpayer money to pay these ladies to be quiet. It wasn't that long ago. So, I mean, like I said, man, everybody up there is corrupt.
Time for the House to start to actually do things that matter for the American people in the middle of a cost of living crisis that's devastating hardworking American taxpayers all across the country. But Republicans throughout this week have shown zero interest in making life better for everyday Americans. They continue to be all about the wealthy, the well-off, and their well-connected GOP donors. Thanks.
Says a dude that's probably got a couple $1 million standing there. Talk about some hypocritical bullshit.
Back. Yep.
Thank you. On the Affordable Care Act, Democrats have, obviously, you said you want an extension of the tax.
God, I wish I could hear the
The
questions.
president says he won't sign that. Senate and House Republicans are talking about various other alternatives. Is there a potential for compromise here? And if so, where does that originate from? Because it seems like parties are talking past each other.
We're in the middle of open enrollment right now. So tens of millions of people all throughout the country realize that their health
Distinguished guests, please rise for the entrance of the 45th and 47th President of the United States of America,
Oh, no.
President Donald J. Trump.
Well, it looks like we're going over to Trump.
And His Royal
Forget Hakeem Jeffries. Yep. Take him off the screen.
Highness Prince Mohammed ibn Salman ibn Abdulaziz Al Saud, Crown Prince and Prime Minister of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia.
All right, President Trump is speaking now, so we're going to watch President Trump, and he is with Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, the de facto ruler of Saudi Arabia. Sorry to cut off House Minority Leader Jeffries, but this is at the U.S.-Saudi Business Forum.
Man, you know that dude's probably got like billions and billions. I'm not talking about Trump, I'm talking about the Saudi prince. He's probably got billions and billions of dollars, man, from all that oil being sold.
This is the U.S.-Saudi Business Forum, so no word that President Trump has signed the bill yet. Maybe he'll sign the Epstein Files bill after this appearance. But he is going to be speaking right now, President Trump, so we're going to watch him speak live. There he is with the Saudi Crown Prince and de facto ruler Mohammed bin Salman. So let's check out this event.
الرئيس دونالد ترامب، الحضور الكرام، يسعدنا نلتقي بكم اليوم في واشنطن بعد 6 أشهر من انعقاد منتدى الاستثمار السعودي الأمريكي في الرياض.
We need translation. What's he saying?
الذي انعقد خلال زيارتكم فخامة الرئيس، حيث وضعنا الأسس لشراكة تقوم على النمو والتنويع الاقتصادي والابتكار، كما وقعنا وثيقة الشراكة الاقتصادية الاستراتيجية بين بلدينا. في خطوة تاريخية لترسيخ التعاون الاقتصادي، واليوم يسرنا توقيع اتفاقيات ومشروعات استثمارية جديدة.
Like, he could be talking shit about Trump right now, and I don't think anybody in that room would have any idea. He could be like, we're going to drop a big bomb on Washington, D.C. You have no fucking idea what I'm saying.
جديدة تتضمن قطاعات الدفاع والطاقة والذكاء الاصطناعي والمعادن النادرة والقطاع المالي.
We laid the foundations for partnership based on growth, economic diversification, and innovation, and we signed a strategic economic partnership document between our two countries. In a historic step to cement our economic cooperation, today we are delighted to sign investment agreements and projects that include sectors such as defense, energy, AI, rare minerals, and finance. This will contribute to generating huge job opportunities in our two countries and to economic growth.
Basically, the translation for short form is me and you are going to make more money. That's basically what it is.
To strengthening our historical relations and developing investment tracks between our two countries in line with our ambitions. I invite you.
And it's great to be here today at the U.S.-Saudi Investment Forum. Great group of people. The biggest, you got the biggest in the room, but some of the most talented, maybe most importantly, the word talent, successful and innovative business leaders anywhere on the planet. Whether you have come from near or far, we're delighted to have you invest right here in the hottest country anywhere in the world.
No, why is Trump reading off a prompter? He was so good at not reading off a prompter. Why is he reading off a prompter? You know, the only reason I know he's reading off a prompter is because when they turn, like, he's the worst at it because he'll turn and look at the screen. You can tell when he's reading off the prompter.
Every leader is saying the United States we're the hottest country in the world. We're going to keep it that way too. But this has been, according to those that seem to say it, and I will say it, I would never say a thing like that because I want to be very modest. I always want to be modest as I can. They say this has been the best 9 months that any president has ever had. I'd say that's pretty good, right? But we've had a great 9 months. Now we have to do it more than a few more times. We just have to keep it going. We'll keep it going. I want to thank my...
Has anybody else noticed ever since he had that assassination attempt that he hasn't really been like the same, kind of the same Trump that we had the first turn or first go around? Does anybody else notice that? Like he just seems, I don't know, like the first term he just seemed like he had a lot of fire, and this go around he just seems kind of, I don't know, maybe he was humbled by almost losing his life. I don't know.
My friend, a great gentleman, Crown Prince Mohammed of Saudi Arabia, for his bold leadership and deep commitment to the ties between our two countries. Thank you. Thank you. Great gentleman. Yesterday we had a phenomenal visit at the White House celebrating the 80-year bond between the United States and Saudi Arabia. We ended with an unbelievable show last night in a room that was far too small, but the next time you're here, you'll have a much bigger room. It's gonna be much bigger.
Much bigger.
I made more.
That's the way it is with Trump for everything. Everything's much bigger. You can have a much bigger house. You can have much bigger car, much bigger roads. You can have a big, beautiful buildings.
Enemies last night by not, we had 119 people. That was a record for the room. So they've wanted for 150 years. They've been clamoring for a ballroom at the White House, and we're giving them one. We're giving them one plus, and it'll be something. But you'll be here. You'll be among the first, if not the first, if you'd like. You know, we'll work it out. But you had a lot of people that wanted to be there. They really would have witnessed something that was really incredible. The entertainment last night was incredible, including our great opera singer, but including the military. The talent in the military musically is also incredible. So it was great to be with you last night. I think it was something to behold. We officially designated the kingdom yesterday as the major non-NATO ally. That's a big deal. It's actually
major non-NATO ally. That, look, I'm sure that's good, but in a way that's bad. I mean, I don't think that looks good for our NATO allies over like in the Europe region, because they're closer to Saudi Arabia. They're more of a threat over there. And then for one of their main NATO countries to then side with Saudi Arabia to partner with them, and they're not in NATO. I don't know about that.
a very big deal. It's a great honor. That happens seldom, very seldom, if at all. So I just want to congratulate you on that. That's a sign of trust. We signed a historic strategic defense agreement yesterday also.
Because if I was one of the NATO countries, I'd be like, okay, where's your loyalty really lie then? Does it lie with the NATO countries, or does it lie with your non-NATO new partnership with Saudi Arabia? I don't know. That could get dicey later on.
That's something that is likewise very rare, and it's a very honored company that you're in. And we're going to be selling Saudi Arabia some of the greatest military equipment ever built. We build the best military.
Why? Why? Why are we giving our enemies our equipment? Like, what is up with this? I mean, Biden did. He left when we left Afghanistan. He left like $1 billion worth of equipment over there, our equipment. But why are we going to sell them equipment? Oh my gosh. Like we just finished a 20-year war over there. And I can't even really say that we definitively won that war. I mean, can anybody really definitively say we won that war? 20 years and guys with AK-47s and flip-flops were putting up a fight against us. Like, we didn't win that war. Now we're going to give them our equipment? Man, give them our equipment, we'll get destroyed next time we end up in a war over there.
Military equipment in the world by far. That's why we do the most business, including nearly 300 American-made tanks, is what you're buying, among many other things.
300 tanks? Are you serious? We're giving them, oh my gosh. We're giving them 300 of our tanks. Great.
Airplanes, and we're working on getting that approved very quickly. It's already approved, but don't worry. We have to go through a process.
Look, I like Trump, man, but this don't sound too good. Like, I understand it would make the country a lot of money, but giving enemies, even though I don't know, man, I just don't. I'm not with giving our enemies our equipment.
Process will take. Elon knows the process will take about. Would you say 24 hours? I think so. You're in good shape. Very good shape. The partnership between our two nations is among the most consequential in the entire world, and together the Crown Prince and I are making an alliance stronger and more powerful than it's ever been before. We've had good relationships and frankly not good. You didn't have a good relationship with Barack Hussein Obama. You didn't have a good relationship with Sleepy Joe Biden. But you had a great relationship with...
I love how he's got these nicknames for everybody. Sleepy Joe Biden, Shifty Shift. What's some of the other good ones? Little Marco from Marco Rubio. What was the one he had for Jeb Bush? What was the one he had one for Jeb Bush too? But he's always got nicknames for everybody.
Me, and now it's as good as it was, and probably even better if you think about it, because we took the dark cloud away from your country. It was called Iran and its nuclear capability, and we obliterated that very quickly and strongly and powerfully. But that was a real cloud over the whole Middle East, and now they want to make a deal. They want to make a deal. They want to see if they can work out a deal with us, and we'll be doing that probably. But that was...
But you know, the sad thing is, it's like once he's out of office, they'll probably just go right back to building and try to get nuclear weapons again. They won't do it while he's in office, but once he gets out, they'll be like, yeah, we got the green light now. They'll just start rebuilding the facilities and getting the uranium.
It's a terrible cloud that you had to live with for a long time. 22 years they were thinking about doing that, the B-2s. That was even before the B-2s. Those B-2s, what machines they were, they flew in, they were undetectable, and they dropped their payload, and every single bomb hit its exact mark, which was a shaft going deep into the mountain. And every single one of them hit, and it was total obliteration. And then I was criticized by some of the fake news for saying the word obliteration was too strong, perhaps. They had no idea. Nobody saw it. 3 days later, when the Atomic Energy Commission went, they said it was total obliteration, beyond obliteration, they said. But they want to make a deal. We'll see what happens. This week, our countries also signed groundbreaking agreements on civil nuclear energy, critical minerals, and artificial intelligence. And I want to congratulate a lot of the great American leaders, business leaders that are in the room. And you'll do a great job for Saudi Arabia and for a lot of other people in the room.
You know, I think AI and social media are pretty much going to be the death of America. I really do. Like, social media has killed relationships and marriages. Like, those days are done. AI, I don't think is like social media has benefited our lives, but has also brought a lot of negatives to our lives, right? And I think AI is going to be the same way. Yeah, there's going to be some benefits. I think there's going to be some major downsides too. Like, you're going to start having people, well, you already see the videos on TikTok and like YouTube Shorts. You already see the videos of people, like, it'll show Trump and it actually looks like he's saying something, but he's really not saying it. But it's really hard to tell if that's actually him saying it or not.
That are buying your product, taking your product, and using your product. All of that is in addition to the $600 billion investment in the United States that Saudi Arabia announced during my unforgettable visit there last spring. Well, I said, could you try and get that up to $1 trillion? And yesterday, the Crown Prince announced that the number that they'll be investing in the United States is $1 trillion. So that's really an honor.
Damn.
And we just took a picture backstage with some of the great business leaders and some of the great people, friends of mine from your country, and beautiful picture. And
You know what's something I was thinking would be hilarious? Like, we're $33 trillion in debt for our country. You know, it would be funny. Whoever we borrowed the money from, like if we need to pay them something, say we need to give them like $1 trillion, I would love, I'd love for us to like fly some bombers over and just drop $1 trillion worth of $1 bills. Just drop $100 bills just over the country. Let it like there you go. You're paid. That'd be fucking hilarious to see on TV.
while we were taking the picture, I said, could you make it 1.5 trillion? So he's got something to think about. I don't know. We'll get something. I think we'll get something, Scott, right? But many of you in the room are playing a key role in making these projects happen, and we're told that $270 billion in agreements and sales are being signed between dozens of companies, and that's just happening today, $270 billion. That's big stuff. So on behalf of the...
I can't even imagine having 270 million, let alone 270 billion. Think about this. This is crazy. I'm not saying Elon Musk worked for the money he's got. I get it. But think about how crazy this is. He's got last I seen he had 300 billion. They say that there's like 8 billion people on the planet. Think about that. He could give $1 billion to everybody on the planet and still have hundreds of billions of dollars. How wild is that?
Thousands of American workers who I care about most. I want to thank you for bringing all those jobs and all those great opportunities to America and bringing great wealth to America. We've become a very wealthy country. We have a couple of little things. We're waiting for a decision. We hope that's going to be good, but if it's not, we always find ways, we find ways, but we've done things that nobody thought were possible, and we're taking in trillions and trillions of dollars. Tariffs have been, frankly, the best thing that's ever happened to our country. They've always been used against us, and we never had people that were smart enough to use them in the opposite direction. But now you do, and we have taken in trillions of dollars, and it's been absolutely amazing. We're going to be doing a dividend to the people, low and middle income, moderate income people, of at least.
Hey, we all might get $2,000 checks, y'all. We getting our welfare. We getting some extra welfare checks.
$2,000. In addition to that, we'll be paying down debt very substantially. It's the kind of money we're taking in. And really, countries that took advantage of us are no longer taking advantage of us. Some of our friends treated us far worse than our enemies on trade anyway, and we've got that all straightened out. And everybody's happy. They respect us again. It's like one of those things. I think they like us better, and they actually respect us, and it works out much better for us, too.
Yeah, nobody
But
likes
I especially want to thank our numerous Saudi friends here today, including the ambassador to the United States, a friend of mine, Princess Rima. Thank you very much. Great job. Great representative you have. You sent a good representative. And many distinguished ministers and members of the cabinet, governor of the Public Investment Fund. Where's Yasser? Yasser's here someplace.
Yasser?
Sometimes I see him dressed both ways. I don't know. It's cooler that way. I'd dress that way if I could.
Well, you can, man.
Yasser's terrific.
Like, wouldn't we like to see Trump in something different than just a suit and tie all the time? I mean, I know he wears a t-shirt and like some regular pants when he's golfing, but it would throw everybody off so bad if he got on stage one day and was just wearing like a pair of jeans and like a regular T-shirt. Boy, you want to talk about everybody flipping out, man? You'd see that shit all over the news.
Terrific. He's a terrific man, actually. So thank you very much, Yasser. And Secretary Scott Bessent, who's been fantastic. Where's Scott? We're thinking about him for the Fed, but he wants no part of it. He likes being Secretary of the Treasury. I think we'll leave him. So let's cross your name off, right? Officially, right? Remember, you said that. I love the Fed job. To me, it's the easiest job in the world. You play golf for 28, 29 days, then you go and make a little speech, tell everybody, in the case of the current guy, the wrong information because he has no clue. But if you have good instincts, it's all based on instincts. I see they want to hire 3,000 economists, 3,000, to report to the Fed chairman. What are they going to do? Take all this information? 3,000 economists. That's why they're spending $4 billion on renovating a building that should have cost $25 million to do. They should have spent $25 million. They're building a basement into the Potomac River. I could have told them that's very tough to do when it doesn't work and it's very expensive. But they're up to $4 billion headed by this clown.
Damn.
But we have 3,000. Think of it. They want to hire 3,000 economists. So they took a poll and they interviewed 71 people. And of the 71 people, 2 people got it right. 2 people. One was a great economist whose name I won't tell you because I don't like him personally, but he is good. And the other one that got it the most right was a man named President Donald J. Trump. Do you believe it?
Oh.
And I didn't have an economist. Why, it's Scott.
See, that's his ego coming out. You know, you got to give it to Trump, man. He's definitely got an ego. He's like, I was the number one pollster. Yep, number one.
But we got it right, didn't we? Huh? We got everything right. Doug Burgum, where's Doug? Will you please drill a little bit faster? Between him and I'll tell you, you and Chris. Chris was great on television. And he's setting records. They're setting records. But I'll never be satisfied. Drill. You know, we got elected. Drill we must, I called it. Drill, baby, drill. Con Edison, a great utility from New York many years ago, they used to have it said, drill we must and dig we must. So when they were digging in a road, they'd have a sign, dig.
See, I got a question, though. How do these companies not go out of business? Like, let's say, you know, they're allowed to drill now. So they spend all this money to build these refineries and drill for oil, do all that stuff. And then, you know, when the next administration comes in, if they're Democrat, they're going to shut all that shit down. I mean, how do these companies survive something like that? Put all that money into it, and then 4 years later, they're shutting you down.
We must. Well, now we're putting those utilities to shame because I'm allowing all of those AI plants that are being built to build their own electric generating force, and they're building them like nobody's ever seen, and they're coming up with ideas and new contraptions like nobody's ever seen. And this way they can't blame me for not producing electric. I said, you produce it yourself. And actually they didn't believe I was saying that because nobody ever thought of a thing like that. They're building.
You know, honestly, I think we could have had to where everybody had their own power by solar or maybe some other means a long time ago. Like, you know, they were pushing the solar thing for a while and then it just kind of like faded off. I think everybody could have had their own power, solar or some other device or means to where we didn't have to pay the utility company anymore. But I don't think they're ever going to do that because that's how they get a lot of money. I mean, I know the utility company's getting money, but you know, the government's getting some of that shit too. So I don't think they'll ever get it to where everybody can have their own electricity and they're not paying an electric bill.
A massive plant. They were going to hook it up to a 200-year-old grid. And you know that wasn't going to work because there's no way of doing that. No way we could have done that. And I had the idea. This was my idea, approved by a couple of people. I said, why wouldn't that happen? They're building a plant for $50 billion. You know, if you build a shopping center for $50 million, it's okay. It's not a bad shopping center. $500 million, you're talking about top of the line. $50 billion. So when it was first explained, they're spending
$50 billion. This place ought to be built completely out of gold. Like the whole place should just be gold. Gold floors, gold walls. Dang.
50 billion. I said, no, you mean 50 million. No, sir, we mean 50 billion. And then I saw some of them that were the size of Manhattan. I said, they did mean 50 billion. And I said, well, what you're going to do is with that, how would you like to build your own electric generating plant? And they looked at me like I was crazy because something like that, they really didn't understand it. The smart guys, they didn't understand it. They said to me at the next meeting, sir, the biggest problem we have will be electricity. I said, you don't understand. I told you last week, you're going to build your own. I'm giving you approval to build your own plant, and you will be approved within a period of 2 to 3 weeks. It used to take 20 years prior to termination. In other words, you would wait 20 years and you wouldn't make it. You'd be voted down 5 to 4. I said, we're getting you approved in a 2-week, 3-week period. In fact, Lee Zeldin, one of the superstars of this administration, I said, Lee, if it's oil and gas, get them approved in 2 weeks. If it's nuclear, add another week. Because some are going nuclear, and they're doing, be careful. They better be careful, but they are going to be careful. They're the greatest people in the world. So now they come back and they actually believed it, and now they're being approved rapidly, and we have things being built, the likes of which nobody's ever seen. We're leading China by a lot in AI, and we're also bringing auto plants in from Canada.
Yeah, I don't think that's true. I think China's beating us in AI, honestly. Let's look at TikTok, man. Look at all the AI bullshit that's coming up on there.
From Mexico, they took them, and they're all coming back. They're all coming back because of tariffs. If we didn't have tariffs, I mean, they like the fact that we won the election by a landslide on November 5th. That helped. But they're all coming back, and they're coming back from Germany and Japan. Toyota just announced, as you know, $10 billion worth of new plants. They just announced it last week I went to various countries, and Japan was one of them. And Toyota's coming in with a $10 billion investment in 4 or 5 plants. Now, we're going to be
But
more...
what happened to just the only American-made cars? I thought that was like his thing. He's like, we want American-made, American-made. Well, Toyota's not American-made. I mean, I know they'd be making their cars here in America, but still. Bring back Pontiac. Bring back GTOs, Trans Ams, muscle cars. Nobody wants a Tesla.
So we led the car industry like 100% 50 years ago. We led the chip industry 30, 40 years ago. We had 100%. Then people came in and started taking it. I don't blame them. Taiwan, etc. They took 100% because we had no president that protected our industry. If we would have said, it's wonderful that you're going to Taiwan, we think it's great.
Let's be honest, we didn't have a president for the last 4 years. The only thing we had was a Roomba vacuum cleaner. Like literally, he couldn't give a speech. He wandered around on stage. He couldn't figure out how to get off. I'm not trying to make fun of the dude, but there was clearly something wrong with him, and I can't believe that they still let him become president. And he obviously wasn't running the show. I don't know if it was Kamala or who was running it, but it obviously wasn't him. But somebody was running it.
When you sell your product back into this country, there will be a 250% tariff. Nobody would have left. Nobody would have left. And Intel would have been a giant. Intel would have been, where's Jensen? Intel would have blown, well, he now owns a big chunk of Intel. He's got it figured all different ways. Where are you, Jensen? Stand up. You have done such a good job. And you had a good 2 days, I understand, right? A good 2 days. How's Blackwell doing, okay? Any recent competitors? Anybody going to blow Blackwell away in the next week? They say 10 years. I don't know, maybe 2 years, 3 years.
What is
But you'll be,
Blackwell?
you will, you
Is that Intel's new chip or something?
will not be stopping there. You'll be going further fast, right? An amazing job you've done. I want to thank Howard Lutnick and Christy Noem for being here. Christy, Howard, good job. Really good job. My daughter Tiffany's here with her great husband, Michael. Thank you very much, Tiffany. Thank you, honey. She was a great student. She went to Georgetown. She was a great, great student, and she finished really right at the top, and we were proud of you. And she was so proud, and her graduation got canceled because of COVID. But I say if her name were something else, they probably wouldn't have canceled.
I think we can all agree that COVID was probably like the biggest scam that we've ever had, probably in this country. I don't know. There might have been other ones, but that was probably the biggest bullshit scam I've ever seen. Like the amount of people that just complied was astounding to me. Like, when they said that there was a pandemic, first thing I did is I immediately was like, all right, well, if it's a pandemic, then I should start seeing bodies out in the street on the sidewalks somewhere. And I was like, until I start seeing bodies laying around, we don't have a pandemic. Then they got it. Then they lied to everybody. They said you get the shot and you won't catch COVID. Well, people were getting the shot and we're still catching COVID. I didn't get the shot and I had COVID. I've had COVID 4 times now. Now, I'm not going to lie. The first time that I got COVID, it was rough. I got pneumonia. That's the first time I ever had pneumonia. I don't wish that on nobody. That is miserable. But it wasn't like the killer that they were portraying it to be. And in a way, I wonder if they did that on purpose, because that's how Biden got in, because they did the mail-in ballot thing. Oh, well, because of COVID, we can't have the in-person ballots. We'll just do the mail-in, because you can damn sure cheat that way. So I think it was all just a fraud, man.
Canceled it. They didn't like that she did so well in school. They weren't happy about it. I say they canceled your graduation because you were a great student, and they didn't want, but other than that, I have no problems. You see, I don't take anything personally. Anyway, great job. And of course, hundreds of the top minds in technology, finance, and private enterprise from both Saudi Arabia and the United States. But my message to all of the leaders and investors with us today, and they are the best in the world, is very simple. Under the Trump administration, America is back and America is open for business. And America is actually stronger than it's ever been before, ever. We rebuilt the military.
Well, that's kind of hard for us regular people to notice, because everything's still expensive. People ain't making more money. Like, maybe if you're like up in the top and you're a millionaire, billionaire, maybe you're noticing it in the stock market. But the average day person, they're not really noticing it.
My first term, foolishly, we gave a little bit to Afghanistan, but not very much compared to what we built. But now we're building it at levels that we've never done before. And in addition to that, we're sending a lot out to our allies, and we're making it possible for them to get it. I want those companies to build more plants, to build it faster. We want them to build it faster. The biggest problem we have is we have a backlog because it's so good. Every country wants our missiles, our jets. They want everything we have, and we got to go faster. We just have a new plane, the F-47. It won a very strong competition.
F-47.
And that was won by Boeing. By the way, Boeing is doing an amazing job of coming back. Kelly is doing a great job. They're really moving, and it's really great to see. But they won the competition for the jet fighter, and they say it reaches levels that has never been reached, both in terms of stealth and speed and everything else that they go by. So they're just completing their factory, and they've already started work on the F-47. How did that number get chosen? I don't know, but I didn't pick it.
F-47.
I did not pick it. It was said, "Sir, we'd like to present you with the F-47."
Be interested to see what this thing looks like.
I said, "That's an unusual number. How did you pick that number?" After 4 years of economic nightmares under the previous regime, Sleepy Joe Biden, he was a sleepy guy, wasn't he?
Sleepy Joe.
Think he would have been here today? I don't think so. Americans have rejected the failed, and they were really failed, far left models that you were looking at of high taxes and massive spending, soaring costs, crushing regulations, and trillions of dollars in green new scams. Everything was a new scam. Green. Look, I'm all for the environmental everything. I'm all for climate change. You know, they have new word, climate change. Used to be global warming. It's global warming. Well, that didn't work because it started coming down.
Now it's climate change.
They did the global cooling thing. Then they just said, we can't keep up with this. It's too much. So we'll go.
Climate change.
Perfect words. Climate change. They're covered. If it rains, if it snows, if it's warm, it's climate change is destroying the world. Remember? The world was supposed to have been gone 2 years ago. They gave us 12 years, Howard, to live, right?
Yeah. 12 years to live. I remember that. Don't y'all remember that? I remember when I was in school, they're like, you know, like the year 2020, the world's going to be done. It's going to be over. Or I'm kind of mad because I was promised when I was in high school, but by the year 2000, 2002, about when I graduated, that we were going to be like the Jetsons. We were going to have flying cars. And we haven't made any progress towards that. We're not even close. We don't have buildings up in the clouds. What happened? They promised us.
But that was 14 years ago. The world was going to burn up, but it got actually much cooler. They know these people. It's a little conspiracy out there. We have to investigate them immediately. They probably are being investigated. Their policies punished success, rewarded failure, and produced disaster, including the worst inflation in our country's history. We had the worst inflation in history, and now we have a beautiful normal inflation. It's going to come down over the next few months a little bit more, but we have a nice normal inflation. We had the highest inflation in the history of our country. Now,
yeah, didn't we peak at like 9% at one point? Hell, we might even hit 10%. I don't know, but I know we got to 8% for sure, and I'm pretty sure we made it to 9.
9 months ago, our country was dead. But now America is the hottest country anywhere in the world. We're the hottest country. I don't care what country you're with.
I agree. I'm in Florida. It's the hottest country. It's fucking hot here. Not right now, but during the summertime, it's fucking hot.
America is the hottest country considered, and we did this in a period of 9 months. We're a little longer than that, but it took me about 2 weeks to get started. We're rewarding those who build and create, invent, and invest in the USA. And you know, our big, I call it the great, big, beautiful bill. It's the biggest bill ever passed in the history of Congress. And Scott and I and all of us, we sat down and we said, let's do it, along with the Speaker and John Thune and everybody, said, let's do it all in one bill. And a lot of people were they said, you'll never get it approved, and we didn't have a huge majority. We had a huge presidential win. We won everything. We won all 7 swing states. We won the popular vote by millions.
Okay, I like Trump, but do we always have to keep going back to, you know, I won, we had the popular vote, we won all the swing states? Like, we know. Do we have to always keep reiterating that?
We won everything. But the one thing, we won one, it's called districts. The country has districts, and we won in terms.
Yeah, the country has districts. Did y'all know that? That was news to me, y'all. I didn't know the country had districts.
Of districts, 2,750 to 550. And that's why when you see the map of the election, it's the whole country, it's all red. And it's pretty amazing. 2 little blue streaks on the right and on the left, and they're very little and getting smaller. But it's been pretty amazing. But in 4 long years, Joe Biden secured less than $1 trillion. In 9 short months, I've secured $18 trillion to rebuild our factories, create hundreds of thousands of jobs, and bring back those beautiful words, made in America.
That's a massive
think
difference.
of that. He did less than $1 trillion in 4 years, and in 9 months, we've done more than $18 trillion, okay? That's called success. And we think that by the end of the first year, it'll be over $20 trillion. So, and thank you very much. You helped with that little boost you gave us, that little increase. We appreciate it so much. We appreciate you. So as just one example, under the deals being signed this week, workers at GE Aerospace, I think he's here. Where is he? Stand up. What a job you've done with your new engines. And where are you? You're there.
He's in space.
It's not a very good location for you. I thought you have been amazing. Great new engine that's supposed to be more efficient, more powerful, and less costly. That's not a bad combination. But GE Aerospace will soon be delivering dozens of new airplane engines for 787 Dreamliners in Saudi Arabia's commercial fleet. Big order. It was a big order just secured. Every new job and every new factory created by these announcements builds up our middle class and it really strengthens the industrial backbone.
Hey, y'all heard it, man. The middle class, they're giving us more jobs. We got to work. While the upper middle class or upper class is just chilling on the golf course, man. We got more jobs coming. We got to get to work. Everybody get the axes, get the picks, get the shovels.
Of America. And, you know, I view it differently. I used to view it as it's great, great, great. The stock goes up. I view it, everything is jobs now because I don't care. I care about jobs. And we have more jobs. It was just announced. We have more jobs right now than we've ever had in the history of our country. Those are big numbers. You know, it's like crazy. It's just a great stat. More jobs today than we've ever.
Look, I like Trump, but how do we know that's true? Really? Like, we have numbers we've never seen before. Great numbers, big numbers. Okay, well, anybody could say that. Like, I could get up there and be like, hey, man, I just created 5 trillion new jobs. How are people really going to know?
Ever had in the history of our country, and we're going to be producing a lot more are coming. In my first term, we built the greatest economy in the history of the world, and now we're do it again, but this is really bigger and better and stronger. The first term, we had what was considered the best economy that any president has ever had.
Hey, he needs to get gas prices down where they used to be. I don't know, depending on where you're at, those of you that are watching, depending on where you're at, where I'm at, in his first term, we actually got gas down to $1.97 here in Florida. We were at $1.97 for quite a while there. And I was like, dang, I never thought we'd ever see gas below $2 again. He needs to get it back down to there. Because that's a massive, that's a huge, you don't think it is, but that's a huge, it's almost like a tax. So when it was $1.97, so when it was like $3.25 or $3.50, to fill up my vehicle, it was costing like 50, almost $60. And when it was $1.97, I was filling up my car for like just a little over $20. That don't sound like a lot, but that adds up quick.
That's nice. And we got hit with COVID, remember? And we did a great job with COVID, but that was a horrible thing for the whole world. The whole world suffered. Your country suffered. Everybody suffered. And despite that, we had the greatest economy. And before that, forget it. We blew it off the charts. I'll never forget, I met with pollsters the day before I got the news about COVID. But
this is kind of a side subject since you brought up COVID. Can we talk about, nobody's talking about it, but everybody that's older that I know that got the 2-shot of the COVID vaccines, they're all dead. I'm not joking. Luckily, I got the Johnson & Johnson. I only got the 1 shot. When they did the booster bullshit, I didn't do any of that stuff. They got me with the 1 shot, man. And then when people were still catching COVID, I was like, yeah, fuck that. They done already lied to us about you can't catch it again. So I'm not doing no boosters. But what was the point I was trying to make? Oh, so I know people that took the Moderna and the Pfizer, which are two shot. You know, you take one and then take another one a little while after. There's three people. So my grandmother's hairdresser, there was a guy that I used to do repairs for, and there was another lady. I'm trying to remember who it was. Dang it. But at any rate, oh, how could I forget? My own grandfather. Okay. So my own grandfather, he got Moderna, and he got after his second shot, it was a year later, he passed. My grandmother's hairdresser, she got the Moderna, and after she got second shot, a month later she passed. And then the other guy that I know, he got the Pfizer one, and about 6 months later he passed. All of them were older though; they were in their like 70s. So it's almost like I wonder if this could be this could be conspiracy theory, but I'm wondering if it's like they were doing that as like a way of like cleansing the herd a little bit because it was taking out pretty much most of the old people. You know, that could be conspiracy theory. Maybe they were just trying to wipe all the old people out so they could quit paying out Social Security and shit. I don't know. But it's very ironic that I know three people personally that got the two-shot versions of the Moderna and Pfizer, and then within 6 months to a year, they're gone.
Because we were starting to think about the next election. They said, sir, if George Washington and Abraham Lincoln came back from the dead and they aligned and they went for the president, vice president as a combination, you'd be beating them by 25 points. And then the next day I was told that something strange is happening. There's a lot of death being reported in a certain country. I won't tell you which one because that country is well represented here, but you know which one. And thousands and thousands of people are dying. And I said, that's strange. What would that be? And it turned out to be a disaster for the world. There's, like nothing has been seen like that since 1917. I always thought that when I heard, pandemic or anything you want to call it, but I always thought that was like an ancient phenomena, that could never happen in modern times, but it did. But we did a great job with all of the things that we did.
I don't know. I beg to differ about it being a pandemic. Because like I said, if it was a pandemic, I would have think you would have been seeing bodies laying out in the road, out in the street, in businesses. I don't know. I think they blew it way out of proportion. Yeah, we had a problem because don't get me wrong. When I caught COVID the first time, that was bad. It was rough. I've never been that sick. But my subsequent, like I said, I've had it 4 times now. But each time I got it after that, it wasn't that bad. It was just like having a cold, really. But I think they just blew it way out of proportion. And honestly, I think the lockdown, if anything, prolonged the virus. I think it would have been better we just went on about our lives and just let it run through everybody, get the cycle through. I think by putting everybody up in their house, it actually just made the thing linger around a little bit longer.
With the vaccines, with the so many of the drugs that we came up with, making you better. Regeneron is an example. Regeneron was fantastic. I give them great credit for what they did. But we did great, and then we started doing the gowns and the masks and the goggles and the ventilators. We were sending ventilators all over the world. We became the king of ventilators. But what a period of time that was for all of us. But despite that, we had the greatest economy in the history we had the greatest economy in the history of the world. And I'll tell you, it was an amazing time. But this looks like it's going to be blowing it away, because when these plants, which are being built now, and many are going to be started very shortly, many, but when they open, we're going to see numbers the likes of which nobody's ever seen before. And, in some cases,
we're going to see numbers like you've never seen. You're going to see big numbers, big, beautiful numbers.
You're building extremely complex plants. You're building plants to make computers and to make telephones, to make a lot of different things, missiles. But you're building plants that make things that are very detailed, and you have to have.
Hey, if America ain't good at making anything, we ain't good at making cars. We ain't good at making electronics anymore. About the only thing we are good at making is bombs. I will give America credit for that. We can make some bombs.
Great knowledge, and you're coming here and you find if we don't have people that did that before, we are allowing you, and I may take a little heat. I always take a little heat from my people, the people that love me and the people that I love. They happen to be toward the right of center, toward the right. Sometimes they're way right. But if you have to bring people to get those plants opened, we want you to do that, and we want those people to teach our people how to make computer chips and how to make other things. You can't come in.
They're not going to do that. They're not going to teach our people how to do that shit. See, that's what's different between us and the rest of the world. You know, when the rest of the world gets something that's like revolutionary, they're not trying to share it with us or Canada. They're not, or Europe for that matter. But when we get something revolutionary, we're just sharing it to everybody. You know, tell, oh, here's how you do it.
And I'm explaining, you can't come in, open up a massive computer chip factory for billions and billions of dollars like is being done in Arizona and think you're going to hire people off an unemployment line to run it. They're going to have to bring thousands of people with them, and I'm going to welcome those people. Now, I love my conservative friends. I love MAGA, but this is MAGA. And those people are going to teach our people how to make computer chips, and in a short...
Okay. This is a little controversial. I was not aware of this. Like, he's going to... So they're having these computer chip companies come over to the United States, and instead of hiring our people because they don't know what they're doing, they're going to be bringing their own people from wherever they're coming from. They're supposed to do the work and also teach our people how to do it. That seems a little hypocritical. Like, you don't want illegal aliens here, but you're bringing people over that are supposed to, that are going to be working those factories, those chip factories, while they're teaching our people. But yeah, they teach our people, but are those people ever going to get hired? Because I'm sure the people that come over with those companies are going to be still working there. That's weird. I don't know how that's going to work
period
out.
of time, our people are going to be doing great, and those people can go home where they probably always want to be. You know, when people are born someplace, they tend to want to go, and we have the greatest country in the world, but they want to go. But they're going to do. We had one case in Georgia where a battery factory, batteries are very dangerous to make. They're complex, much more complex than people understand. And they spent $1 billion to build a factory, and they were told to get out. And I said, stop it.
Damn.
Don't be stupid. And we worked it out. And now they're teaching our people how to do it. But they're going to have to spend, Jensen, I don't think you can open up a big plant with your friend from Taiwan where we're going to have 40 or 50% of the computer chip business I don't think you can do that with people that don't even know what a chip looks like. Do you agree with that? So somehow, you know, the people that are against this are really, really smart. They're unbelievable patriots, but they just don't understand. Our people have to be taught. This is something they've never done. And we're not going to be successful if we don't allow people that invest billions of dollars in plant and equipment to bring a lot of their people from their country to get that plant open, operating.
But see, what if they see this goes back to the oil thing I was talking about. Let's say they do spend the money to bring their companies, the factories, their people, whatever. Then in 4 years when another administration comes in and they're like, "Yeah, we don't want you here anymore." Like, how do they survive that? Maybe they just got so much money it don't matter. But if you're spending that kind of money to move your factories, bring your people, move everything over, and then 4 years later they're telling you get out of the country.
And
I don't
working.
know.
I'm sorry. So my poll numbers just went down, but with smart people, they've gone way up. They've gone way up. And
Really?
I mean that. So for those of you that are doing the plants, you're going to have all the help you need, and you're going to do a great job. And you're going to teach our people how to do it, and our people are going to be just as good as your people ever were in not such a long period of time. Since the election, the stock market has set, and this is a little more than 9 months, 46 all-time record highs. And
Okay, so for those of you in the stock market, that would be good news. But for most average Americans, they're not in the stock market. They don't give a shit about the stock market. If the stock market's doing good, that's just people up top doing good. That's not affecting the middle class. Now, there's some in the middle class that invest and they make smart moves, but for most general population, it doesn't affect them.
growth is now amazing, and it's lifting up the Americans and American economy like nobody's ever seen before. It's the biggest. There's never been a period of time like this. Wages for hourly workers are rising at the fastest pace in 60 years, and real wages for construction workers are up $2,200 a year.
Yeah, I don't think so. At least I'm not seeing it on the ground here where I'm at. Wages are staying the same and the cost of everything is going up, but people ain't making more money.
And that's good, and that's spending. They're going to spend. They're going to buy many of the things that you're making. In 9 months, we've lifted over 600,000 Americans off food stamps, and that's happening rapidly. When we had the problem 2 weeks ago on the SNAP, and they talked about all of this, the numbers. So when I left, which was a rigged election, by the way, but that's okay. They used to go crazy. I'd say rigged. Nobody complains anymore because now they realize it was, and it's been proven, and it continues to be proven. But when I left, that number was $7 billion. Now it's $47 billion. That's Biden. So if you think about it, if Kamala, who's the same basic thing, grossly incompetent, he was incompetent. They're all incompetent because their policies are incompetent. Open borders, men playing in women's sports, transgender for everybody.
This is going to sound so wrong, but I would love to see just one time, since he's the trans thing, and they want women in men's sports, men in women's sports. Let's test that theory out. Let's just put a dude and a female in a UFC octagon ring and see how that works out. Train fighters. Take one of the UFC girls that's a trained fighter. Take one of the dudes that's a trained fighter. And let's see how that plays out. That would be very interesting.
I mean, they got the worst policy. I don't talk about it too much because if I talk about it, they might change. So, no, I don't talk about it. I tell people, don't talk about it. Wait till 2 weeks before the election and hit the hell out of them. Right? We talked about that, right, Elon? He said, we wait 2 weeks before. It's almost like you're at a war. Don't shoot.
I like Elon, but I think we can all agree he's a little autistic. Just a little bit.
Yeah, don't shoot. Hold your fire. The enemy's rushing. Hold your fire. Don't shoot. Okay, now you can go. 2 weeks before. But I watched a guy the other day, a congressman, fighting for men playing in women's sports. And the new weightlifting record for a certain weight was just set. The man was 119 pounds higher than a woman champion who was a phenomenal champion. Beat her by 119, and he was an average lifter prior to.
Yeah, like let's not joke. Let's not play around, okay? Men are stronger than women, just in general, okay? It's just so it's in the DNA. That's not like being sexist or misogynist. It's just facts, man. Men are stronger than women, okay? Prime example. I seen a video of a guy that lifts weights. There was a lady she had like, I don't know exactly how much weight she had, but she was doing everything she could just to do deadlifts with this weight, right? Well, this guy comes over behind her. They were making like a TikTok video apparently. But he comes over and he grabs it with one hand and he throws it up over his head. So this weight that this lady was having a hard time just deadlifting, he picks it up with one hand and throws it right over his head and holds it up. It was it was crazy.
Transitioning. A lot of the Saudis are sitting here saying, "What the hell is he talking about transition?"
Transitioning.
They don't do, Yasser, they don't do a lot of transitioning. They're sitting here, the Saudis are saying, "What is he talking about?" They're saying, "What do you mean?"
Yeah, they ain't got that bullshit over there. They don't tolerate that kind of bullshit. They wouldn't even be having those kind of discussions. They'd be like, "No, you're male, you're female. End of story. Period." And if you were trans over there, uh, you might get killed. As much as I hate to say it.
Women are playing against men. No, that doesn't happen, does it? Yeah, it does. These people are crazy. 1.9 million more American-born workers are employed today. Think of that, than when I took office. So we picked up almost 2 million workers, and more Americans are now working, as I said, than at any time in the history of our country. Under Biden, 1 out of every 4 new jobs went.
Yeah, is that really more Americans are working because of new jobs? Or is that more Americans working because they don't have a choice? I'd like to know.
To increase the size of the federal government. So in other words, 1 out of 4 was a federal worker. Well, I love our federal workers, but that's not the way you can build a country. It's a short road to a disaster. Under my administration, 100%, think of that, of all new jobs created came out of the private sector. In fact, the federal government, we cut thousands and hundreds of thousands of jobs out of the federal government. Now,
oh, trust me, we know you did, Trump, because we were here, the Democrats bitching about their friends that were getting laid off in the FBI. If you guys didn't hear about or see that, you guys need to go look that up because that was crazy. They were like the Democrats were crying like their friends were all getting fired.
if I wanted to do something for purely political reasons, I'd say, Susie, let's hire a couple of million federal workers. And you know what happened? Unemployment is unbelievable. We don't do that. They did that. They used to hire workers in order to fudge up the numbers. The federal workers. By the way, Susie Wiles, most powerful woman anywhere in the world by the biggest, most important magazine. Susie Wiles, she had her father, Pat Summerall, the great announcer, football. He was a great football player, became an even greater, the voice of the NFL, and he was supposed to be a tough cookie, and I believe it 100%. Most powerful woman in the world. She can take out a country, destroy, take out a country with one phone call. That's power. I don't know.
That's fucking crazy. Yep, pick up the phone. Yeah, I'd like to go ahead and wipe China off the map. Can we do that? That's crazy.
If I could do that, but she could. Thank you, Susie. Do you feel good about the job you're doing? Huh? She's never going to be satisfied. She's doing a great job. We're also making incredible strides to make America affordable again. That's a new word that they're using. Affordability, they talk.
Yeah,
they had
we'll
the worst
see.
inflation in history. They had the highest prices in history.
You know, I'm honestly beginning to believe they really don't want people to own their own homes. I really don't. Because it's so stupid, at least where I'm at. Like regular housing, like take a house and not even that long ago. Let's go like 10 years back. Like a house that you could pick up for like 180,000 is now like 500,000. I mean, it is so insane. And it just like, and then but you can find occasionally like one that's like 250,000, 300,000, but it's like a little Cracker Jack box. It's like 1,000 square foot, maybe 800 square foot. And don't even get me talking about New York. Like, that is insane. I couldn't live like that. Then people are paying like $3,000 a month to live in a cell. It's like being in a prison cell. They're living in rooms so small they can't even have a full size refrigerator. They just got the little mini fridges, and they're paying $3,000 a month. That's just stupid.
Country was going to hell. The only thing that we're going up in is our stock market, okay? The only price that we really have, I mean, we're bringing prices down, but they came up with a new word, affordability. And they look at we are all about affordability, and everyone assumes that meant that, no, their prices were high. If you look at the numbers, since I took office, core inflation is now below 2.7%. It was at numbers that nobody had ever seen before with them. Walmart just announced that the cost of their standard Thanksgiving meal is reduced by 25% this year from last year.
Wow.
So they make, look, the Democrats, I don't know, some of you are probably liberal Democrats. I don't know about in your country. I don't know if you know that word, liberal. The word liberal doesn't exist.
No.
But they have a new word.
No, over there in Saudi Arabia, it's you got probably one dude, and everybody abides by the same rules, man. You know, you can shit on that area over there, but there's a lot of places over there that some Americans would probably feel more comfortable at because, you know, they don't have all the woke bullshit. They don't have all the trans stuff. Like, I'm not against all that, but they're not tolerating that kind of stuff over there.
Now, you can't use liberal, you have to use the word progressive. And I don't like using it. It's a beautiful word, progressive.
Progressive?
Progressive, that's not them. They're regressive. No, they're regressive. Think of it. So if I don't get in, we have $20 trillion. Let's say she gets in.
Is that why Progressive insurance is so high? Have y'all ever checked the insurance at Progressive? Holy shit. They're higher than everybody.
Instead of $20 trillion, you'd lose $10 trillion, and your welfare and other benefits would go up by 30%. Look at SNAP, look at what happened there. From 7 million to 47, from 7 billion to 47 billion, it would be that. So we would lose business, countries and companies and people would flee our country. They would flee, and all of the other things would go up. In other words, would end up with a shell of a country, and I'm being nice when I use the word shell. This country would have been in big trouble, and I don't want to get him in trouble, but that gentleman right there, the most respected man in the room, that's today because we're here. Most respected man, I have to say that.
You talking about the prince?
Don't worry, when I'm with other countries and the leaders sitting there, I say the same about them. Don't worry. Don't get carried away. No, the most respected, one of the great leaders, he told me when I was in his country, he said, and I use it all the time. Sometimes I refer to him because I have great respect for him. I figure it sells better. But he said exactly these words. He said, it's amazing what you've done. 1 year ago, your country was dead. And now you've got the hottest country in the world. You were the first one that said that. And I've used your name hundreds of times.
Well, that's pretty bad when the Saudi prince is telling you your country was almost dead. They were probably hoping it would be. It'd be better for them.
The name I say that King of Saudi Arabia said. But anyway, but it's true. We were a country that was in really bad trouble. We were a country that would have been dead, I believe, within a year or 2 years after the election. We were headed in a very bad direction. And now we're headed in the best direction, I think, that we've ever been headed. According to the USDA, Turkey is down, think of that, 33%. And I'm not talking about the country of Turkey.
Can we take a moment of silence again for the poor turkeys that are all going to get murdered for Thanksgiving? But I guess I can't really say anything because there's thousands, hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of chickens to get murdered as well, more frequently than turkeys do. So maybe we should have like a chicken day just to honor them, you know? Have a chicken day. We got a turkey day. Let's have a chicken day. At least give them a day since they're all getting murdered all the time.
He's doing fine. Erdogan is doing good. Just want to, I don't want him calling me. I'm not down 33%. He's a friend of ours. We got to take care of our friends. Since March, egg prices are down 86%. Think 86%. Many other prices are down in a similar number. When I first came into office, my first 3 days, I had a news conference, and they started screaming at me.
I'm not gonna lie, I had sticker shock. Yeah, because usually eggs for like a dozen, like even on a high side, would be like around 4, even $5. But I remember the one time I went to a grocery store and I was looking at a carton of eggs and it said like almost $10. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, what the hell's going on here? Like, did the chickens protest or something? They wanted a raise? Like, hey, we're not shitting eggs unless we get paid more. That's crazy.
People, it's a lot of people back there. Look at all the fake news. They started screaming at me, eggs, eggs. I didn't know anything about it. I said, what's going on with eggs? They're up quadruple. I said, I've only been here for 3 days. And we'll work on it. And we got them down very substantially. They said, don't buy eggs for Easter. At the White House, we have an Easter egg hunt. We buy thousands of eggs. People come from all over, thousands. They asked me, sir, would it be possible this year to buy plastic eggs?
No.
I said, I'm not buying plastic eggs. The kids are going to pick up an egg. They're going to, what the hell kind of an egg is this? And we bought.
That would be great. See everybody run around the White House getting plastic eggs. Oh my gosh. Plastic eggs, and they could have $100 bills in them. Did your parents ever do that? Like hide the plastic eggs, put like a dollar bill in it or whatever?
Maximum number of regular eggs, and we got the prices. Brooke Rollins did a great job, Department of Agriculture. She did a fantastic job, and eggs are way down now. Mortgage rates are down despite the Fed. I mean, Scott, you got to work in this guy. He's got some real mental problems. No, he's something wrong with him.
Who's that?
It's just sweet. I'd be honest, I'd love to fire his ass. He should be fired. Guy's grossly incompetent. And he should be sued for spending $4 billion to build a little building. I'm building a ballroom that's going to cost a tiny fraction of that, and it's bigger than the whole thing put together.
Damn.
You got to work on him, Scott. The only thing Scott's blowing it on is the Fed. Because the Fed, the rates are too high, Scott. And if you don't get it fixed fast, I'm going to fire your ass, okay?
No.
I can't tell you, Scott, sir, don't fire him. Sir, please don't fire him. He's got 3 months to go. Don't fire him. I want to get him out, Scott. Please. He's a voice of reason. You're very lucky you have him, I'll tell you that.
Oh, boy.
Done a good job.
Trying to save his boy.
I think Howard's a little bit more for firing him. Right, Howard? I think Howard would say, get him the hell out of there. Anyway, while congressional Democrats wanted the largest tax hike in history, they wanted to raise your taxes by 42% of you, 44%.
Damn.
I proudly gave you the largest tax cuts in American history. Don't forget, the great big beautiful bill doesn't kick.
I don't even know how people live in New York and California. Like average people, if you're rich, that's fine. But like middle class making like 80 grand a year, even 100,000. Like no wonder why they got so many homeless in New York and California. Like for a little crack shack house, you're spending like $1 million for a home. You got the federal tax, which is usually like 20 to 22%. Then you got a 13% state tax. So they're taking like half your income. So think about, let's just say you're making 40,000 a year. You're bringing home like 4 grand a month. They're taking like half. So you're only walking with like 2,000 a month. And then they wonder why they got so many homeless people there. Like California is just, and New York, those two places. Chicago's not much better either.
in until January 1st. So this, all these numbers that you're reading about, all these great numbers, that's without the tax cuts. The tax cuts take effect on January 1st, and that's no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security for our great seniors. Even people that go buy a car, they've never had this. You know, middle-income people don't know what the word deduction is. They don't know. This room, they live on deductions. Me too. How much of a deduction do I get? We all live on it. Middle-income people, they don't know about that. They don't really have deductions. We're giving them a deduction on the interest if they buy a nice Tesla car and they borrow the money. You're so lucky I'm with you, Elon. I'll tell you, has he ever thanked me properly? Although I do let him buy other than electric cars, but these are minor details. You know, we had a mandate, which even Elon thought was ridiculous, that everybody has to have an electric car by 2030. And once, fortunately, he said, that's a ridiculous thing. So I keep quoting, but I'm giving them a deduction. Now, Elon would like to have it differently. A deduction only if you buy a Tesla, right? But we'll let it be for everybody. But think of it. You get a deduction on the loan, on your interest payment. I think that's going to be an unbelievable boon to car sales. I think it's one of the biggest things, and we'll see.
Honestly, I don't even know how these car places, like these big car manufacturers, like Toyota, Ford, GM, I don't even know how they stay in business. You know, they got the big, you got the big Ford car lot, the GM. The new cars are, I mean, they're ridiculous. You go get a brand new car, you're starting at like 30,000. And used cars are getting bad, man. You go to a used car lot now, car you used to be able to get for like 4 or 5 thousand. They're wanting like brand new prices. They're wanting like 12 to 15. It's like, holy shit.
But I think it's going to be, and the biggest thing I've done for business and jobs is deductibility, where all of that money that you're spending, 100%, think of it, expensing for all new equipment purchase, factory construction, including structure. Every single thing you're allowed to deduct, expensing 1 year. And that's what made our first tax bill, in my opinion, more than anything else, bringing your money back in. We have that, we have everything. Trillions of dollars, hundreds of billions, but trillions of dollars. Apple alone, Tim Cook brought in hundreds of billions of dollars. You couldn't do it under the old tax code. You'd have to pay so much tax, and just the bureaucracy of it. We made it very simple. We charged a fair rate, and we took in billions. Well, we have that. But the expensing, to me, was the thing that made it so successful. And the other thing is all of those tax cuts that we got, that was the largest tax cut in history. On top of adding to those cuts, we extended the original tax cuts. If we didn't extend, you would have had about a 58% tax increase from that point.
Holy shit.
And we were able to get that extended. So I want to thank the Speaker of the House, and I want to thank John Thune. And a lot of people thought that bill, because we put everything into that one, we took 4 years worth of things and we put them into the great big beautiful bill. And we got it passed. It was close, like about a quarter of a vote. It was on fumes. We thought for a couple of moments we were not going to be able to get it. Then we would have had to have
like
it.
Like how he said that like a little kid. It was close.
9 or 12 or 14 different bills. And I don't think we would have gotten many of them approved. We would have gotten some easily approved, but some we would have gotten no votes on. By putting it all together, we got everything. And it was a great job, and I think someday it's going to be appreciated. But among other things, it's the biggest tax cut in history for people and for businesses. So just enjoy it, and think of me every once in a while when you're hiring new people and making a lot of money. You just think about us. But I'm cutting a record number of job-killing regulations. That's the other thing. And I've already slashed more than $1 trillion worth of regulations this year. My last term, I gave the largest regulation cut in history, and now we're doing it again. In fact, for every new regulation, they're mandated to cut 10. And so far, it's for every new regulation, they've cut 30.
Yeah, the bureaucracy is fucking insane, dude. Like, try to go start a business. You got to get licenses. You got to get your sales tax if you have sales tax or sales tax certificate in your state. Then you gotta jump through hoops. And if you're doing construction, oh my God, don't even get me started on that bullshit. You got to go downtown. You got to file for these different certificates and get permission from the city to do this and something that should only take like a week at most to do turns into like 6 months. It's so stupid.
So they have the idea, and very importantly, we stopped Joe Biden's radical crusade to kill oil and natural gas. Somehow, I don't think Saudi Arabia would like me too much if we decide to kill.
Okay,
oil.
look, guys, I know they want to be on this Green New Deal. Everybody go to electric cars, electric vehicles. But let's be honest, the rest of the country's not trying to do it. If if Russia, China, the rest of the world was on board and they're like, yeah, we're all going to go to electric vehicles, okay, let's do that. But they're not. So what's the point in us going all electrical? But China, Russia, Saudi Arabia, they're also going to be burning oil. So then what difference does it make? Why are we trying to kill ourselves? They're not if they're going to do it, let's do it because us going all green ain't helping if everybody else is going to burn.
Oil and natural gas is nothing like it. It works. Windmills don't work. Other things, I don't want to get into it too much, but they don't work. What does work is natural gas, oil, nuclear, and other things. But the windmills are a disaster. I am the biggest negative person on windmills. They ruin your locations. They ruin. When I look at some of these countrysides that are littered with windmills, and every time it goes around, you lose money. The country loses money. It's a disaster. And
but what about the environment? What about the environment? They're killing birds. They're killing birds. Hey, I appreciate the follow, man. Hey, the Gangster Jeweler, what's up? I'm curious. Do you play D&D? No, I do not. Do not play D&D, bro.
I just hope that some of these countries that are losing their ass, we have countries that are going bankrupt because they're putting windmills all over the place. You're supposed to make money with energy, not lose money with energy. And we talk about oil and we talk even clean, beautiful coal. I said, you're not allowed to mention the word coal unless you precede it by saying clean, beautiful. So I have my people in the office.
Really no interest
about
to play,
coal,
man.
Right? And they're going, sir, a clean, beautiful coal is...
Do I play games? Sure, I play games, but not really interested in D&D.
Doing very well, sir. And then 2 minutes later, clean, beautiful coal. Then he mentions the third time, sir, coal. No, it's clean and beautiful because it needs a public relations help. Coal needs a little help, public relations-wise. So we refer to it as clean, beautiful coal, and it does have its place. That I can tell you. But we're streamlining permitting for all new energy projects, all new mining projects, and what used to take 28 days is now down to very little. But we had times when, not 28 days, we had times when things would take 14, 15, 16, and even 20 years to get approved. We have a maximum day, 28 days. That's the maximum
I got you.
it'll take. It'll never take more. You can come in with a $1 trillion factory. You can come in with what it takes a maximum of. You don't have to go years and years and years, be abused by bureaucracy. If you build a plant now, you're going to have your plant done within 28 days. And a lot of you are all, because I see everyone shaking their head, you're all agreeing. We're getting you approved by very smart people quickly. You know, when you used to walk in with plans done by the best engineers in the world, thousands of pages, and drop them on some guy who's been there for 28 years approving environmental impact statements, and he's looking at...
I've always wondered how they do that. They talk about when they got a bill, and it's like 1,000 pages. It's like, are they really reading all that? Are they? They got to be just skimming through it. Like, that's a lot of pages to have to read. If somebody handed me 1,000 pages, I'd be like, yeah, okay, I'd read a few, Just be like, okay, where do I need to sign? Probably not even know what I'm signing. And they talk about it like it's nothing. Oh, we just we got 33,000 emails. You know, we're gonna read all of them. Their aides read it. I guess. Yeah, they'd have to have their. Yeah, I'd have to have an aide. AIDS. I hope you don't have AIDS. But nah, I know what you're saying. But yeah, I would have to have AIDS. Somebody would have to read it because I ain't reading 33,000 pages.
Pages that he's never seen, and he's supposed to approve it. He has no idea what the hell is in those pages. So we know what we're doing. We're going to get maximum is 28 days. That's why we have so much under construction, and people can't believe it. They can't believe it. And again, remember what I said, most important thing, you're building your own electric plant. You're really becoming a utility in addition to doing what you're doing. But you're
Right.
building all of the excess, all of that energy, all of that electricity is being built. And your excess electricity, you can sell back to the federal grid. So we even make it there. Under the deals being signed this week, the world's two leading energy superpowers, America and Saudi Arabia, are partnering on energy like we've never partnered before. American Saudi companies.
Uh-oh, Russia, you better watch out. You better fucking watch out. United States and Saudi Arabia are linking up. They coming for your oil.
Represented here today are joining on liquefied natural gas, infrastructure, constructions, and making both of our energy sections. I mean, our sectors are becoming so strong. Just a quick story. In Louisiana, when I first time I got there were two massive LNG plants. One was under review for 14 years and was being rejected. The other one was for 18 years. The people of Louisiana, Doug, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And one was $20 billion, one was $24 billion, like the biggest things.
Don't you like how they just throw billions and trillions around like it's nothing? Like, yeah, 20 billion here, 100 billion there. No big deal.
Like 3 Empire State Buildings lying on its side. It was massive. And I said, whatever happened with those plants? Well, sir, they're under review. How long has it been? 14 years and 17 years. And they had given up. Massive investments were being made by other countries and the richest people. They couldn't get them approved. I got myself involved. Right, Doug? The first one, I got approved in one day. The second one, I got a little cocky. I took my time. It took me 1 week. And they're both operating today, and they're tremendously successful. I got one, think of it. After 14 years, I was in office. I got involved. I got it done in 1 day. And it's been a tremendous success and made a lot of money for our country and for a lot of other people. And the other one took 1 week to get done. That one was under review, I think, for 14 or 15 years, both of them. So I'm very proud of that, actually. I also proudly ended the ridiculous Biden-era restrictions on artificial intelligence, and we will work closely with friends and partners like those in this room.
What do you guys think about AI? I think AI in the long term is probably not going to be a good thing. I mean, look at the videos that are already coming up on TikTok and shit. This AI stuff. Think about how bad that could be. Like, let's just say, for instance, you were in a murder case, right? You're trying to fight a murder case, and they make an AI video of you. It looks like you. It's your voice, and they got a video of you doing something that you actually didn't do. But how are you supposed to disprove that? They show that to the jury, and they're like, "Yeah, okay, well, there's video right there, even though you didn't do it." Like AI could be very dangerous, I think.
To build the largest, most powerful, most innovative AI ecosystem in the world, and we are going to work it so that you'll have a one approval process, not have to go through 50 states in the United States. You can't go through 50 states. You have to get one approval. 50 states is a disaster because you have one woke state and you have to do all woke. You'll be back into the woke business. We don't have woke anymore in this country. It's virtually illegal.
He's like, fuck this woke shit. Fuck it. It is stupid, man. Like, kind of like the transgender thing. Like, I don't have anything against that, man. If you're 18 and older and you want to do something like that, go for it. But you shouldn't be having that stuff like in the military. Like, that just really screws up morale. Like, you'd be in the middle of combat and then you guys are fighting over, whether whether this soldier is a dude or a female. It makes no sense.
But you'll have a couple of wokesters, and we don't want to do that. We want to get the AI done, and I'm working with David. David's done a fantastic job. If he's here, I think he is. He is. Thank you. David's done a fantastic job. But we want one approval, and hopefully you have the right guy in the federal government. Hopefully you have the right president, but you have one approval, one approving body, not 50, not, hundreds of people all over the country looking.
Well, I think we can all agree. We probably know the states, which states would not vote for it, like California, New York. I think we all pretty much know deep down.
You know what you're doing, and basically you're forced to take the worst and the most onerous, right, Jensen? Are you happy with that, Jensen? Thank you. If Jensen's happy, I'm happy. But what's very important, we have to do that. And we have a couple of very good, very well-meaning senators that think every state should have a right to approve. We're not going to do that because that will not allow you to do what we have to do. And we'll get that straightened out. Together, the United States and Saudi Arabia are unleashing really the most incredible new prosperity together. And we're also making history and forging peace. And I've settled 8 raging conflicts, 8 wars. I've settled 8 wars. I have 1 to go. You know what that
8 wars. Yeah, what about the Ukraine and Russia? He said during his I'm all for Trump, but he did say if he got elected that during his first week he'd have that Ukraine-Russia war taken care of. And here we are a year in.
One is, I thought that was going to be my easy one because I have a good relationship with President Putin, but I'm a little disappointed in President Putin right now. He knows that. I thought that was going to be the easy one. I settled one war, 36 years. I got it done in 1 day. I had another one, 32 years, millions of people killed.
Maybe Putin wants to go to war with America, man. I don't think it would be good for him to do right now because he's used up a lot of his military equipment. Plus, he's lost a lot of soldiers. I don't think it would be very smart with him to try to go to war with us at the moment. Unless he's got China backing him. See, now that's the problem. That's what people need to understand. And I don't think, we're kind of like the bully of the world in a way. Like we've always, for the most part, except for when we had civil war here, we, for the most part, always have fought our wars abroad. They've never been here on U.S. soil. But we've never went to war with a country that could actually fight back. I mean, that was like really equal, that has an air force, has a navy, like Russia or China. Look, we were in war in Afghanistan and Iraq for 20 years. And we didn't even really win that war. And people in flip-flops and AK-47s were they were handing our ass to us. Could you imagine if we went against a country that's actually got a Navy, an Air Force? I don't even know if we would do that well, y'all. Honestly, don't. I think if we were to go to war with China right now, we get stomped.
Even Congo and the Rwanda, they had 10 million people killed. It was out of control. I got that settled. I have a man's father who happens to be in this room doing a great job, right? Got that settled. I settled 8 wars, and I'll tell you, His Majesty would like me to do something very powerful having to do with Sudan. It was not on my my charts to be involved in that. I thought it was just something that was crazy and out of control. But I just see how important that is to you and to a lot of your friends in the room. Sudan, and we're going to start working in Sudan. I didn't think that that was one that was going to be so easy to do, but we're going to start working.
You know how long I've even heard anybody mention Sudan? Like, nobody even mentions that anymore. It's been so long since I've ever heard that. Sudan.
Mohammed said, yeah, thank you. Thank you to you. No, it wasn't on my charts because I'm good at settling disputes, and I've always been. I've done very well with that over the years, even before this. But I was talking about the different wars, and look, India, Pakistan, they were going to go at it, nuclear weapons. I said, that's okay, you can go at it, but I'm putting a 350% tariff on each country, no more trade with the United States. No, you can't do that. I said, I'm going to do it. Come back to me, and I'll take.
He's like, bitch, I'm going to do it. Like, I'm going to do it. You can't tell me otherwise. Come back after I've done it.
Down, but I'm not going to have you guys shooting nuclear weapons at each other, killing millions of people, and having the nuclear dust floating over Los Angeles. I'm not going to do it. They said, we don't like that. I said, I don't care if you like it or not. So I was all set. I told Scott, 350% tariff to settle that war. If you don't, we'll make a nice trade deal. They were in the midst of a deal. Now, no other president would have done that. Another guy would have, like Joe Biden, doesn't even know what countries we're talking about. He wouldn't have any idea. There'd be no tariffs, no.
Yeah, he'd be like, what, we're doing tariffs on Mars? We're doing tariffs on Pluto? He don't even know what planet he's on.
Nothing. Just the whole world would go to hell. But no, I used tariffs to settle all these wars. Not all of them. 5 of the 8 were settled because of the economy, because of trade, because of tariffs. So I did this. But, and then I'll tell you what, the Prime Minister of Pakistan called me. Thank you very much. He actually said, I saved millions, and he said it in front of Susie. He said, President Trump saved millions and millions of lives. He doesn't even know that, but he saved millions of lives, and he talks about it. And I got a call from Prime Minister Modi saying, we're done. I said, you're done with what? You're not going to go to war. I said, thank you very much. Let's make a deal. But I saved a lot of people, millions of people, on many other wars. Azerbaijan, you know what was happening there? I settled that. That was going on for many, many years.
Why are we not getting the Russia and Ukraine ones taken care of? Like, what's holding that up from stopping?
Actually, Putin called me. He said, I can't believe you got that one settled. We've been trying to settle that one for a long time. I said, don't worry about that. Just let me settle your frickin' war. Okay? You don't have to help me. I don't need any help. I need help.
Mind your own business, bitch. Take care, get your war under wraps.
With your war. And it'll get done. But working with the Crown Prince was amazing because he mentioned Sudan yesterday. And he said, sir, you're talking about a lot of wars, but there's a place on earth called Sudan. And it's horrible what's happening. And I viewed it as being just sort of a freelance, no government, no this, no that. And he explained the whole culture and the whole history. And it was very interesting to hear. Really amazing, actually, to hear. And, we've already started working on that, okay? He said that would be the...
Oh, shit. Stupid ads.
Expression. Is that a correct expression? Pretty good. So we're working on that.
Okay.
We started about 30 minutes after you explained to us the great importance of that. I view it differently now than I did just a day ago. But we also, as you know, we had a historic ceasefire. We ended the war in Gaza. And 2 days ago, incredibly, the United Nations Security Council backed the Trump peace plan. And we have a great...
How much you want to bet, though, once he gets out of office, that all these wars are just going to fire back up? Like, once they know that there's a weak president in there, they'll all just start firing back up.
peace, but we
That's why I said we might get peace, but it's probably just going to be temporary peace.
have peace in the Middle East. This is a strong peace too. They say, oh, it's tentative. It's not. This is a very strong peace. We have 59 countries signed on. And when there's problems, I'm getting calls from countries. They want to go in and lead the fight to solve the problem if we have any problems. But right now it's looking very good and endorsed. They endorsed the United Nations, what's called the Board of Peace, chaired by a person called Donald J. Trump. I accepted the chairmanship. They asked me to be chairman. That's what I needed. It's just a little more work.
There's his ego. His ego's coming out a little bit.
But it's a great honor. That'll be the greatest board ever assembled. When do you see this board? This board will blow every board away. And I believe we're going to.
I love how he says that. You know, like everything's like a big, beautiful buildings. It's going to be a big, beautiful board. Biggest board ever. Like, he can take like something so small and make it seem like so big. Like this piece of wood is going to be the biggest piece of wood ever. The biggest, beautiful piece of wood. I love it. It's funny.
To be lucky enough to have the Crown Prince be a very distinguished member of the board. But we're going to have the heads of the Board of Peace, and I think it will go long beyond Gaza and the Middle East. I can see that going long beyond. There'll never be anything like this in terms of, I know you all have wonderful boards, but this is going to blow it away. It's going to blow them all away, and it's going to do some really good. So in the coming months, the Crown Prince and I are going to ensure that the ceasefire and everything else that's going on that's so positive in the Middle East, hard to believe. I mean, I've grown up, peace in the Middle East. I used to hear peace, peace, peace in the Middle East, but never happened.
It'll be temporary peace. Like I said, that area, that region has always been in war. All the way back to the Bible times. There's always shit going on there. There always will be shit going on there.
Peace in the Middle East, it's an amazing thing. Nobody thought, 3,000 years they talked. Nobody thought it would happen. In just 9 months, our administration has achieved more than most other administrations achieve in 8 years. And we're leading again in just every country. We want to win. We want to win for you. We want to win for ourselves. We want to help our allies. We want to change our enemies. We want to change our enemies. I'm being nice when I say it that way, but we want to change them. And if they don't change, we're going to be nasty. But hopefully we're not going to have to be nasty.
Translate. If they don't change, we're going to blow them up. That's the translation.
But we want the world to prosper. We want the world to be safe. Our alliances are flourishing like they haven't before. And, you know, they're respecting America again. They didn't respect us. We were like a bunch of stupid people. We had a president that couldn't get up and talk, couldn't walk up a flight of stairs. We had people that didn't know what the hell they were doing. We were an embarrassment all over the world. But now we have people that are respected at levels that we've never seen before. So I just want to tell you that this is a group that I respect. I read every single name of every single person sitting in each and every seat. And I either know you or I know of you. This is an amazing group of people. And it really is headed by that gentleman sitting right smack center with 2 seats in between him. He wants plenty of room.
He must be talking about the Saudi prince.
And he's going to be the king of Saudi Arabia right now. He's the most distinguished gentleman. He's my friend. And thank you very much for what you've done for us, and we will always be with you. Thank you, Mohammed. I appreciate it. Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right.
Okay, so
that was a good stream, y'all. There's more that we'll probably cover tomorrow. We're going to go ahead and call it a night for tonight. But I want you guys to stick around because I'm going to raid